So
Gainz
just start
Nation.
Gains Nation.
What's
Roman,
going on?
Roman got lined up. It looks like in me. This is week 4. This is week 4. Roman, is
I'm
it
trying.
okay? Is it
Yeah, no,
okay? Yeah.
it looks sharp. I'm trying. Like I do this all myself for the most part. So I've like this is the first time in my life that like I like kind of shaped my soul patch, and then
Yeah.
like I'm trying to get like nice edges. My partner is looking at me. She's like, stupid
She
boy.
is
Uh,
now.
and like trying to like actually get
Yeah.
like nice edges like on the neck and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm doing the best I can, Games
I
Nation.
I think I'm gonna go. So this is week 4. I'm probably gonna go to like maybe 8 weeks and see what I could do and try to maybe style it. If not, I don't know, shave it maybe, or just kind of rock what Roman's rocking. See, like Roman and I feel like we can grow like really nice like right here, like center pieces. Like I feel like you and I have that, and then like it's like decent on the sides, but it's like almost like I don't know. It's kind of light. Like the cheek hairs are coming in, but they're very light. But I'm gonna see by 8 weeks and kind of style it. Also, too, if you guys haven't looked at our posts, man, the gardening is paying off now. I told Roman about this earlier, but yesterday, like I've been we're like we planted zucchini, sweet potatoes, green peppers, jalapenos, cherry tomatoes, Roma tomatoes. Roman likes that, and then
You like
cucumbers.
that?
Yeah, yeah, cucumber. You like that? Cucumbers, cilantro. Um, and I think that's and kale, and then romaine lettuce. And right now, because it is almost August, like everything's paying off. Like we've been able to have like zucchini like every night, and we're talking like the zucchinis are like this big and like that thick. So they like sometimes since it's just us two this week, the zucchinis we've been just like cutting them in half and like pan searing them or boiling them and then serving them up, and then like yeah, we've been having like kale salads with like green pepper and spinach. I mean not spinach, cherry tomatoes, and then we'll toss with like a light dressing. And then like I was telling Roman earlier, we picked like 150 to 200 like green beans, and the green beans are going wild. Um, so it's been pretty nice to have like all that work pay off because since we live with my mother and father-in-law, so I tilled the garden and then like I pulled a bunch of weeds and then I helped them put like a what is it mulch around it so like the weeds don't grow back, and then been trying to eat as much as possible. But it's been nice because like I said, it's paying off because we don't have to go to the grocery store and buy a lot of vegetables because we have them already. And also we still do imperfect foods but haven't been paying for it. We've been like kind of skipping it every week, because the fact that we just buy fruits at the store and then like we already have like pretty much all our vegetables covered, so it's been pretty nice to do that. um, I think there is one more thing I had to share before we get into it, Roman. I know we want to get to the topic today and make sure people are going at it. But what we were gonna say is we were supposed to have our awesome tease guest this week, but we scheduled it for next week. So just be on the lookout for next week, guys. We do have a great topic that we actually were supposed to talk about last week today, but we were going to save it for next week when we didn't have a guest. And then we're in the works for having another new guest too. So it's been crazy. And like I said, we have some more coming with Dr. Tyler Saunders and Dr. Kyle Richmond. So be on the lookout. Like I said, great content coming for you guys. Please let us know what you guys want to see next. I did start a Minds account. Minds is that social media platform for Gainz Podcast. Don't know how far we're gonna go with that. I forgot I think the CEO was on Joe Rogan. It's supposedly like a social media source that's like not like really messed with or censored, kind of like Twitter. I'm not too sure where we're gonna go with that account. But if you guys do use Minds, maybe search for Gains Podcast. Maybe tell us if you even use that social media network. And I think that's about it, Roman. If you want to get into the updates and then what we were talking about today, buddy, we'll get right into it.
All right, sweet. Trying to think about updates.
Also, too, it's kind of nice doing this earlier. I got my my nice little coffee mug. Did you see that?
Heck yeah, nice.
It's got
I
the
like that a
baby's
lot.
face on it. I got it for Father's Day.
Baby
Um,
Bo.
It's so crazy that well, I'm saying it's nice because I'm actually sipping coffee during this podcast because usually by the time we record these, I'm done with caffeine for the day and I'm just drinking water. So it'll be a nice change of pace for people to look at my mug instead of my water bottle this whole time.
Heck yeah,
And
buddy.
also too, if you guys really want to know how slow I drink coffee, this was brewed at about 7:30 in the morning, and it's only my first cup of coffee, and it's now 11:30 in the afternoon. So it's
Heck yeah.
taken me almost 4 hours to finish one cup of coffee.
That's so crazy. I
It's
like probably
ice
drowned
cold.
mine in
It's
the first
literally
like
ice
5 minutes.
cold. Yeah, I
Standing
know.
up. Oh my god.
So it makes sense. Peter Tia does. One last thing. Peter Tia does he does recommend looking at 23andMe, but my 23andMe DNA does show that for my DNA it says that like caffeine is something that my body doesn't need as much according to like the DNA they recovered from my saliva sample. So it does make sense, but like I'm pretty amped right now, and I still have like maybe a quarter left of this coffee. So and like I said before, like that's why when I was taking a lot of pre-workout after my cup of coffees, I was like feeling a little anxious, and also too like the more caffeine I add to my body, the less the effect actually comes. So I've been noticing that a lot lately because like I'll have a second cup of coffee like in the afternoon or like at like 12 or 1 p.m. And it really doesn't do me a benefit. Like I even had a Monster Energy drink like in the afternoon, and like I was like more tired than when I first started drinking it. So, um, but yeah, Roma, go ahead, buddy. I'm done talking.
Yeah, I've definitely been like sleep deprived this week. But um, I've been trying to reduce like the second like cup incidence of coffee. Even if I like lose out on sleep, I will still just stick with the 1 cup recently. And I feel like from like the jitters perspective and like the like anxiety or whatever you get
Yeah,
from like adding in additional amounts of caffeine, that's helped. I'll do that from time to time, but that was also in response to I think it was some data that Menno Henselman's put out. It was more in regards to a dose response relationship to, or rather, a tenuous dose response relationship is the way that I like to say it, because I think the way the post was written, it's a little misleading because it states there's no dose response relationship with caffeine, which is misleading because, of course, there's a dose response relationship because caffeine is an ergogenic, means it aids sports performance. If you don't take in caffeine, it can't aid sport performance. If you add it in, it aids sports performance. So is there a dose response relationship? Yes. The way it, in my opinion, should have been written was diminishing returns of a dose response relationship, or a low range of caffeine consumption has a dose response relationship, or does not have a dose response relationship rather. But that's kind of getting in the weeds.
yeah,
The point being is that low amounts of caffeine, anywhere from, I think it was like 3 to 5 milligrams upwards to like 6 milligrams per kilogram, I think, were like maximum effectiveness. Essentially, is what I think came out of that some of that data. That's kind of fascinating. Um, so point being is, even though it's in regards to sport performance, not any type of like neurological like effects. There's like some subsequent downstream neurological effects in sports performance, but in regards to like alertness is what I mean.
yeah,
Um, I took that in like my own sense to essentially say, like, if I'm tired, like adding in more caffeine isn't going to help me at the end of the day. It's potentially going to just like give me jitters. It's potentially going to like make me more anxious, and it's not going to give me the result that I'd like, which is like further clarity, because I'm sleep deprived. What I need is to get
to sleep.
several
Yeah.
several nights of like good quality sleep to
And
get
also,
back
it could
going.
affect even more days of or more nights of sleeping, like not being able to sleep continuously if you keep, you know, diminishing returns on the caffeine and alertness. But Roman,
Yeah.
get into that topic, buddy. I
Yes,
want
yes.
you to get into it, buddy.
This is only gonna be a teaser episode, Games Nation, so I apologize about that. But I like the concept of a teaser in regards to the topic at hand, because this is something that I actually think is there's like a lack of this information out there in the internet sphere. So you're hearing it here first, Games Nation. No, not first, but I do definitely think it's niche. And today we're going to be talking about rotation and anti-rotation, specifically in regards to rotation, anti-rotation movements for like different muscle groups, or for how you can use rotation, anti-rotation, build them into your exercise program to essentially like bulletproof your body from injury. So from like injury reduction standpoint, this is going to be more theoretical. I'm not going to bring in any type of like research or anything along those lines. And the theoretical basis is that through different forces that we experience like on a day-to-day basis, through either life or through sport, we do experience rotational forces on joints as well as through muscles. And we're going based off of the if you don't use it, you lose it principle, meaning that if you don't train a certain type of movement plane, and just to reintroduce those three movement planes, we have the frontal plane, so front to back. I'm just going to try and go through this quick. Sagittal plane, side to side, or transverse plane, up and down. So if you don't train certain planes of motion, then it could cause certain, let's say, muscle groups to either not reach their full potential, or in some instances atrophy, if you're not training them, let's say, to a minimum effective dose, for example. And
Yeah,
I think that
it's kind of like when we talk about we've talked about before somewhat, but like not the rotational part was like if you don't get into a deep squat, like say you commute to the city and you sit on a couch, and then you leave and then you go sit on the train and then you go sit in your desk, and then you're above your hip angle is like above 90 degrees, and so you do that repeatedly for 30 years. You retire, and then you might go fishing once in a while, or you might sit on your couch, watch TV, or sit outside. If you're not training that deep squat, then it's eventually going to be hard to get in a deep squat and bend over and pick something up, tie your shoe, go to the bathroom, pick yourself up if you for some reason are on the ground, like say if you're having a picnic, or if you're trying to enjoy time with a grandkids, or younger generation or younger kids. It's hard to get up from that position. So I'm just adding on to that, Roman. Obviously we're not talking about that sort of thing, but we are kind of talking about it.
Oh, that's a great point, because like anyone that either has kids or like watch kids or something, like you're hanging out, just relaxing, catching up and whatnot, that person might turn to you, rotate their trunk, right, and hand their kid to you, right? And if that's a movement plane that you don't train, then you could potentially increase your injury risk, because your body's not used to that load in accepting that young child to rotate, turn your core. So I'm not saying that if you don't like train this, because oftentimes we go through these movement patterns without even being conscious of doing them, that like you're going to get injured. But I do believe that through like fitness and different proper periodized or programmed workout regimens, that you can help to reduce your injury risk. So let's go over some definitions really quick here, and then I want to go over just a couple of I just want to call out a couple of muscles that are responsible for rotation and anti-rotation, and then give a couple of practical recommendations before we wrap this up. So some definitions. When we're talking about rotation, typically we're talking about either medial rotation or lateral rotation. So rotation in general, I have just defined as it may be in reference to either medial or lateral rotation. So what is medial rotation? Medial rotation, movement towards the midline. So towards the midline. It's a figmentary line that we draw down the middle of the body. So medial rotation of the shoulder, for example, would be me turning the shoulder inwards, versus lateral rotation would be me retracting my scapula and externally rotating the shoulder, for example. So medial rotation, movement towards the midline of a bone around its own axis, and then lateral rotation, movement away from the midline. So away from the midline of a bone around its own axis. Anti-rotation, that which prevents rotation. Okay. So when we're talking about muscles that are responsible for rotation, I just wrote down a couple of them, but these are ones that hopefully through repeated conversation around them, you'll become more familiar with them. You'll be interested in learning about their insertion points, origin points, how to train them, etc. So transverse abdominis, that's kind of like on the back hand side here. Obliques, multifidus, another small musculature in our back. Glute medius, a lot of people are aware of that. So our booty, the side of our booty, and some adductor muscles are responsible for rotation. Some practical recommendations. These are specifically going to be for athletes, but can also be in reference to Gen Pop. And I'd like to run downstairs really quick and demonstrate if that's okay with you, Antoine.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
and so if you guys are listening just from the audio version, if you want to kind of, Roman's going to try to talk through it as best as he can, but if you want to see this portion, we're about 16 minutes in. If you're not looking at the time, if you want to hop over to the YouTube channel and see it through video. So I think we're about just over 16 minutes. So if you want to see this in the video, Roman's going to demonstrate it right now. So
I'm gonna try and talk through it to get information.
Yeah,
so
I just want to make sure if they do want to see it, so they know that, like, the timestamp, and pretty much I'll probably put the timestamp and maybe put that in the timestamp notes as well.
Let's see. Can you see me okay here?
Yep, perfect.
All right, sweet. So we're having a handy dandy band. If you don't have a band, that's okay. So I'm gonna give one banded recommendation. I'm gonna give one non-banded recommendation that anyone can do just about anywhere, any able-bodied individual. So we're going to wrap this around here, take the band. Oftentimes what you'll see is individuals doing two-handed Palloff press like this. I don't want to see anyone do this for your chest. You're doing this more for rotation, anti-rotation of your core musculature, your hip musculature. Believe it or not, your knee joint, your ankle joint. I can feel this is wanting to twist on me. So I'm going to do it with just one hand to make it a little bit harder. You can come out further to make it even harder. So come in closer to make it easier. So we're going to make it challenging here. And what this wants to do is it wants to twist me towards the fulcrum or towards the pole. So I want to resist it as I bring my arm in. And what I'm doing is I'm focusing on my core, keeping it tight against rotation. You can also build in rotation. So this is the one-arm Palloff press, or the previous exercise. This was the one-arm Palloff press. And this exercise here is just a banded rotational exercise. So let's put the band down. I want to show an example of a side lying one leg plank. So let's set you all up here. We're going to put the water down. Then we're going to come over here. Can you see me over here, Antoine?
Yep.
All right, sweet. So we're going to move this slightly like this. So this might be challenging. So you might actually have to put both feet up, for example, here, and then work on twists. But for me, I'm trying to utilize this movement to strengthen my adductor muscles, as well as some of those rotational and anti-rotational musculature that we talked about. The obliques, multifidus, transverse abdominis. What was another one? Starts with a P. It's escaping me right now. So what we're going to do is We're going to put our forearm down on the ground. We're going to have either 1 or 2 legs lifted, depending on your strength for this type of a core movement. We're going to come up if we're doing one leg. So my right leg is balanced on the bench, or anything, could be a stool. My left leg is underneath the bench, suspended, and you can just hang out here. This is going to be working my right leg, the adductor muscles, to stay in an isometric contraction. And then to turn this up a level, you can add in trunk twists, which adds in a rotational and anti-rotational component. What I've been doing recently is I just take like 2.5 pound weights or 5 pound weights, and I add in twists. This is a phenomenal exercise. And quick story as we go upstairs and we wrap up the pod for today.
And Roman actually just almost got a little workout in, so if he's got the heavy breathing going on, just don't worry about it.
A little bit. Actually, it's really good. So I've been playing a lot of pickleball recently. I think we've been talking about it. I'll try and get a video up so you guys can see me in action. But some days, like, as you can tell, I'm a pretty competitive person. Some days I will play like 3-4 hours worth of pickleball. That's a lot for this old man. Just kidding. But
and Roman's only in his 30s.
I was finding that I was getting a little bit of pain in my mid back. So I started to think about, like, I'm twisting a lot when I'm hitting the pickleball with the pickleball paddle.
And also too, if you don't play sports, or if, like, you know, when you get older, you know, you're not an athlete, potentially you could, like you're maybe saying, is like you might not be doing as much as you think you are, and then when you're introducing those movements, you could kind of see how, you know, it could affect like soreness, or like, you know also some issues, you know, kind of moving forward, because you're starting to do this as, like, you're pretty much brand new to it, right? Even though back in the day you might have done a bunch of this work because you were playing sports and doing all this stuff with your friends or school. So
yeah, so last word here, and then I know Antoine has got to get headed. Since I've started to add in rotational, anti-rotational exercises into my program, my back pain is either significantly less or gone. So the one that I highly recommend is the elevated one leg side plank with twist, when you can build up to it. If you do try it, make a video and tag us on Instagram. I'd love to hear what you think of it.
Yeah, and also too, what we could do is, because I know YouTube Studio actually works well with the mobile app. So what I could do is I could maybe, unless you want to record it again, what I could probably try to do is save that file on that portion where you're doing like the visuals, maybe split it up, because I know you're doing 2 different things, and you kind of, you know, went over to like the lying down side of things with the bench. What we could probably do for you guys listening too is, if you didn't make it this far, or say if you didn't have time to watch this podcast but you want to get more information, we could post like that portion of Roman what he's doing physically for you guys too, so we could post it on Instagram and all the social media feeds as well. Did you want to add anything else, Roman, before we end it?
No, I love it. I hope you all enjoyed this. We'll get deeper into this. If you like this topic, we can bring in some research, talk about, I did skim a paper from NIH where they were kind of going over some rotational, anti-rotational exercises from a rehabilitation standpoint. So if that's something you all are interested in, please let us know, and we're happy to bring that content to you.
Oh, also, before I end it, and then I'll end it, I promise, actually I did yoga for like the first time in a month. I remember I did that, like that 30-day program and all that, yoga with Adrian. Shout out to Yoga with Adrian. Man, 12 million like views on her profile page, man.
Dang.
She is insane with yoga, yoga side of things with YouTube. So shout out to her. Maybe eventually we can get her on the podcast and talk about yoga. But we did that this morning, Sam and I, early this morning. It was actually really nice because today's a rest day. We usually go for long walks today, so we'll do that later. But we did some yoga today. It was really nice, and then Sam did it with me, which usually we don't get the time to work out really too much together. But it was good seeing you guys, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure, like I said, we're on Minds, Minds, the social media app. Let me know what you guys think about that. Please, we're on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Threads. Um, I don't know where else. I mean, where else do you guys want to see us? We actually, I think I linked the audio side to more audio podcast apps. Let me know if you guys use those other apps. Man, there's so many like audio apps now that I don't know if people are using them. I know like before, like Stitcher was a big thing, so we got on Stitcher. Apple Podcasts, that's a big one. I know Spotify. We're on those. We're on Audible, Amazon Music. So let me know if you guys are utilizing those audio apps, and if you want us to see us on there. Typically we might just have to just link the RSS feed to the audio side of things, but let me know if you guys are using that and if you want to see different content or more different content. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.